Disney, I think it's time to have a little talk because there's a lot on my mind after experiencing the 100th anniversary celebration at Disneyland, and I think it's time to be honest about some things. Well, hello everyone and welcome back to another theme park obsession video. My name is Dylan and thank you so much for tuning back into the channel. Yeah, today's a little different. We're back in the park. Some of you that have watched me before have recognized this setting. And yeah, this is a nice place to be to do a walk and talk video. But yesterday, I was able to experience the 100th anniversary celebration at the Disneyland Resort. It's the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company. And overall, let's talk about some positives first. Let's start off with Mickey and Minnie's. Wonderful attraction, just like in Florida. Ours is nearly identical. There is one hallway near the end before the final scene with Mickey and Minnie and Pluto that you kind of go through to get to that scene. And it's, remember, because our attraction was built from the ground up, it wasn't in an existing structure like it is in Florida. But yeah, it's really good. It's more, I feel like it's more polished here in California than it is in Florida. And that's not to say the attraction in Florida is bad. It's very good as well. It just seems like ours, because it's new, because it's built from the ground up, the Imagineers had more time to really play with the scenes and give them the space that they needed, especially that finale scene with Mickey, Minnie, and Pluto, much larger than the one in Florida. So it was really spectacular. And another thing that was really spectacular was the queue. The queue for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway was very well done. It almost felt like I was in Florida because we don't normally see queues that length here in California. They're more on the shorter end of things and they're well themed, but again, they're just not very long. Whereas here in Toontown at Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, that queue went on forever and there was so much to look at. There were so many little details. There's a few little interactive moments there, and I thought that was really well done. So definitely a highlight to the 100th anniversary kickoff at Disneyland. As far as the shows were concerned, the shows weren't bad, but they weren't fantastic. I thought they sat right in the middle, which is not like a bad thing. They were still really fun. The fireworks show at Disneyland was pretty fun. Very reminiscent of Harmonious. It just reminded me of Harmonious. That's all the show reminded me of. Again, not a bad thing. I don't mind Harmonious at all. It was just in firework form at Disneyland. The finale to the fireworks show was pretty spectacular. Tons of fireworks there. But I think the best fireworks show that Disney has ever done is the Disneyland Forever fireworks show during the 60th anniversary, and Remember Dreams Come True. And as far as World of Color 1, same thing. Good, but not great. It was a fun show overall. The finale is really colorful and beautiful. I did love the Star Wars segment of the show. That was really cool. For me, the show was kind of like going downhill very, like ever so slightly, but then the Star Wars part came and I was like, okay, that's pretty epic. That was awesome. So overall, shows were fun and Mickey and Minnie's spectacular. Of course, with all celebrations, they had plenty of treats that we tried, and the treats were very good. And then, of course, they have a bunch of merchandise. Merchandise was like all over the place. And on top of that, it was overall a fun day because I was able to hang out with some good friends. Michael was there with me too. So we were just kind of exploring the park. We went on a couple rides and just had some fun. We stopped at Carthay Circle to have a couple beverages and just enjoy the sights and the sounds and the vibes, because we were there like all day because we had to cover the fireworks show and World of Color, and of course the Mickey and Minnie's boarding group situation, which I'm going to get into in a little bit, was just, forcing us to stay there all day. So it's fun to be at Disneyland all day, but it definitely was a day nonetheless. And before I get into the negatives, I just want to say huge shout out to the cast members. Yesterday was very crazy, very busy, and a lot of cast members were doing their best to provide what they could. They were doing their best to give that Disney experience in times that it was just kind of not there. So shout out to the cast members for doing what they could yesterday. And I've been in that situation before. I used to work at the park years ago, and I remember being at the park during very busy times and big grand openings. So I get it. And I bow down to you because it is hard work, especially stressful days like that. But with that, let's talk about what the heck is going on at Disney, because Disney is one of those places that I've always loved. I've always loved going to the parks. Disneyland has been my go-to park. It's been my home park since I was little. I've been going since the dawn of time, and things have been changing over the years, rightfully so. Things do change, and I get that. But I feel like the experience at Disneyland is becoming so stressful that it's turning people away, and those people just don't want to come back as often or ever again. And a lot of what was happening yesterday, I fully see it. I've been seeing it, but like yesterday was one of those things I'm like, dang, you know, maybe I won't want to renew my pass next year after this. It's just too much. First, let's start with the park reservation system. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes the park reservation system. It is one of those things that is just an annoyance at this point because the parks are slammed. When Michael and I arrived to the park, it was already packed. We didn't get there till like 1. Michael was able to book California Adventure as his first park, and I was able to book Disneyland because I had booked the day like way far in advance. Which again is kind of annoying, the fact that we have to do that so far in advance. So at 1 o'clock, we were able to both go into the park together, and yeah, we were met with a crowd of people. So when Disney sits there and says on a public release that, oh, the reservation system is there to provide a really good guest experience, it's nonsense. That is nonsense, because the park is slammed. It's busier than ever. There's more people in the park, and the reservation system does nothing more than to provide Disney with metrics so they can judge how many cast members they have to cast in the day. It's not based on your experience, it's based on their checkbook. They want to know how much money they need to spend in a day in order to operate the park. We were walking down Main Street and the cavalcade had just ended, which, by the way, the cavalcade was okay. It was nice to see all the characters in their outfits, but it was okay. And it was just like this sea of people, and you're just like, why are we making reservations? Like, why are we doing this? Because if anything, I feel like the reservations create a false sense of demand. People have this urgency to make a reservation to go because they're afraid of not being able to go. So it's like, if Disney would just eliminate that, I feel like a lot of their problems would just automatically be lifted off their shoulders just on that one thing alone. So just right off the bat, you're already kind of disappointed with the reservation system and seeing those crowds. A lot of people that are not used to doing this like you and I are, a lot of people watching this might be regulars to Disney. You know, we go to the parks all the time, but the family from Texas or the family from Michigan or the family from Colorado doesn't really do this that often. They probably go once a year or once every couple years. So when they make a reservation, they might think, oh, well, you know, this might be a good day to make a reservation, and we're making a reservation because they limit the capacity. That's not the case. You get in the park and you're met with just a onslaught of people, and it's very overwhelming. Now, I get it. On opening days of things, it's going to be busy, no matter where you are. I totally understand that, and I prepare for it. But what's annoying is just seeing that many people when they're still pushing this reservation thing. So that was the first thing that was just kind of like annoying upon entering the park, along with the fact that Disneyland still has the old scanners for for the security system. They still search through your bag in a lot of places now. You just walk through a scanner with your bag on. Knott's Berry Farm uses this technology. Six Flags Magic Mountain uses this technology, and a bunch of other parks around the world, including their sister resort at Walt Disney World. They use all that new technology as well. So what's going on here, Disney? Let's speed up the process, because efficiency is one of your keys, and it seems like you've lost it right at the gate. Another big issue that we were running into was mobile order. Again, you have to constantly be on your phone throughout the entire experience at Disneyland, and if you're not, you're punished, because if you don't want to be on your phone and get something from Jolly Holiday, you have to wait in this 18-hour line to get anything. And it's like, that's not fair. That is not fair. And the reason why Disney wants you to mobile order is because they're eliminating a lot of the cash registers, because they don't want to have to pay a cast member to sit there at a cash register and help people that way. And results of that, they just go down to one cash register or two at big locations, and it forms this massive line. So then they force you to mobile order. The thing with the mobile ordering, though, is some days it's okay. Other days, like yesterday, it's awful. At 8 a.m. when the park opens, you're forced to make a mobile order for your lunch that you probably won't get until 5 or 6 in the evening, because the mobile order window has been pushed back so far. So it's like you're right when you enter the park, you're already having to think about, okay, what do we want for dinner? What do we want for a late night snack, or whatever? What do we want for breakfast? Because the window might be pushed all the way back to like 1. That to me is, you're already destroying the guest experience because people are already getting frustrated. We ran into this issue at Avengers Campus during the opening of that. We found out that like at opening at 10 a.m., we had to mobile order stuff and we weren't able to get it until like later on in the afternoon. And it was being pushed back further and further and further. And it's not fair for people that just want something now. It's like, if you're hungry right now, well, you're gonna have to wait a few hours, or you're gonna have to go somewhere else and hope that the mobile ordering is further up at that location, or hope that there's no one going to that location so you can just pick it up right then and there. Like there's so much you have to think about with mobile ordering in advance that it's just, I feel bad for the family that's not local, that comes here all the time. They don't understand that you have to make these decisions sometimes before you even get to the park. And right when you enter the park, you got to know, okay, well, where the heck are we eating? And the other big elephant in the room was the boarding group system and lightning lane situation for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Now, the boarding group system is awful. It is very frustrating. It's very confusing sometimes for people. And it makes you so infuriated because there's nothing you can do to benefit yourself in trying to get a boarding group. It's a lottery system, and it's a rigged system, by the way. They'll never tell you that, but I'll be the one to say it. They rig it so not everyone gets it. The boarding pass closes because they have 2 opportunities. Remember, like we've seen in some of my other videos. For example, Guardians of the Galaxy at Epcot. You have a window at 7 a.m. And then if you don't get the 7 a.m. one, you could try again at 1 p.m. Same thing here at Disneyland for Mickey and Minnie's. At 7 a.m., they want you to wake up, which, again, why am I having to go out of my way to lose sleep in order to hope, to cross my fingers? It's not a guarantee that I hope I get a boarding group for this attraction. So if you don't get it at 7 a.m., you have another opportunity at 1 p.m. to try again. Again, not guaranteed. But what happens is they close the 7 a.m. one so quick that barely anybody gets it. But they do have that option to purchase the individual lightning lane for $20, and you can ride the ride, but you have to pay. But there's also a catch. You have to act fast because that also sells out. So for example, if you started your day off at California Adventure like Michael did, and you weren't able to get the 7 a.m. boarding group and try again at 1, and you didn't get that, well, your next option would be, okay, well, maybe I can purchase the lightning lane. Well, they sold out really early in the morning, so you were just screwed. You were just, you know what, out of luck, and you weren't able to ride the ride. That's not fair. My thing is they should give everyone in the park a boarding group and say, hey, you may or may not ride today, but you are in a group. We may get to your group, but there's a possibility that we won't. But at least you're in a group. So there is a little bit of ease there. There's a slight sigh of relief. Just give everyone a boarding group. Or better yet, do what Universal Studios has been doing for years now. With their virtual queue, it's repopulated almost every hour. You go into the app, you select virtual queue, you select your party size, and then you select your time that you want to experience the attraction. So for example, for Super Nintendo World, you go into the app, select virtual queue, select your party size, let's say 2, then we'll select a time, let's say 2:30. Cool, if it's available, boom, you hit it and you're guaranteed. There you go, 2:30 entry point. Now, if 2:30 runs out, they have more times available. And if they were able to get through all these people very quickly, they'll repopulate the virtual queue and you have more opportunities to do it again. And that's another thing, you can only do this once at Disneyland. So like Mickey and Minnie's, if you get the virtual queue, you get the boarding group, well, you can't go on it again. Once you go on it, that's it. You're done for the day. Whereas at Universal, if they have more virtual queues available after you ride, well, you can do it again. At Universal, you're not punished for not being finger fast, and they don't force you to pay to go on the ride. If you didn't get the time slot, well then, okay, maybe you can try again later on in the day because they'll repopulate it. At Disney, on the other hand, If you didn't get the first group, you either pay or you hope you get the second group. And if you don't get the second group and you don't pay, well, then you don't go on the ride. I can't count on my fingers how many families were upset yesterday that they did not get a boarding group. And that sucks. That is very disheartening because there's so many people in the park that get turned away instantly, and it's so unobtainable. It's not like it's very easy to get a boarding group. This is very difficult, at least at Disneyland. It's a different story sometimes at Epcot or other parks, but at Disneyland, it was very hard to get a boarding group for Rise of the Resistance, and it's extremely difficult to get one for Mickey and Minnie's. Like, I'm talking a millisecond. If you don't hit the button right away, or if you blink, it's gone. It's rigged. It is rigged for the benefit of the company and not for the benefit of you, which is a bummer because it's such a good ride. It's a spectacular ride, and Disney did such a great job on it. Why not let people line up? Just line up. It's not a big deal. The ride has plenty of capacity to handle that amount of crowd, and the queue space in there can hold quite a bit of people. If people are willing to line up for Mickey and Minnie's and take time out of their day doing other things, they will do it. And Disney, you're still going to make money. You're still going to make money off those people because there's still people in the park and they might leave to go get food or whatever. But the hardcore people like myself and so many others that want to just do it, they will wait and do it. But what's so weird about this is Disney is not consistent on any of this stuff. What happened just recently? Well, they closed Splash Mountain at Walt Disney World. Did they have a boarding group for that? No. They had people line up all day. The wait time for that attraction before it closed was hovering almost around 300 minutes. 300 minutes. That tells me people are willing to wait. They don't need a boarding group. They will go out of their way to wait for it. And Disney can handle it. By the looks of it, they can handle it. So why can't you handle it for this? Why do you have to force people to go into a boarding group? Why are you having to punish people for not being finger fast and they have to purchase the lightning lane when you just showed us at Walt Disney World that you're willing to let people line up for hours and all day to say goodbye to an attraction? It doesn't make sense. It's rigged, and it creates a bad guest experience for those that want to experience it. It's frustrating to go to Disneyland sometimes, and that's not what Disney's all about. We want to go to Disney or any theme park and have a good time and not think about, dang, did I make a reservation for this? Or I wasn't fast enough this morning at 7 a.m. when I'm like just waking up. We didn't get that ride, so we can't go on it today. I didn't book my reservation for my restaurant early enough. I wasn't able to book Lightning Lane because they sold out. Like, it should not be this stressful. You should be able to go to Disneyland and have a great time and not have to worry about being on your phone 24/7 and having to be like on top of it. It's taking that takes time away from your family and friends. It takes time away from the park to enjoy it because that's why you're there. You spent all this money to be there to enjoy it, and you can't even really enjoy it because you're looking down on your device, hoping to God that you get a boarding group for an attraction that just opened. What's going on? Why aren't the executives in the park experiencing this for themselves? Because I feel like if they experienced this for themselves, they would change their mind. I don't think anybody on this planet enjoys boarding groups, virtual queues, reservations for the park, or anything. Like, they just want to go and have fun. And some parks realize that. And one of Disney's biggest competitors, I feel like, realizes that too. And that's Universal. Like I've said, Universal is operating just fine. Now, a lot of you might say, well, Dylan, Disney, they're super popular. Yes, they are. Disney is top dog. But nobody can convince me that Super Nintendo World is less popular than Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. It's more popular than that. And Universal was able to handle soft openings and virtual queue systems beautifully. They soft opened that land for a few days and are probably still in the process of doing that until the official grand opening here in the next few weeks. They also have handled their virtual queue system very beautifully as well. And they have a system in the park set up so if you don't want to use your phone, you can go up to a kiosk, select your virtual queue time, and be good to go. So they've thought about the frustrations and they've improved on those. Yeah, and does it suck that we have to make virtual queue for things now? Yes, but at least Universal makes it less stressful and easier. Super Nintendo World is a perfect example of how you take something that has a massive following behind it, immense popularity, and you execute it well in the sense of park operations. Not once did I feel bored in that land. Not once did I feel stressed about having to book a reservation for anything. It was all handled really well. Of course, things get busy and, Universal's gonna have to navigate that. But overall, even when it does get busy, they're navigating it pretty well. Way better than what Disney was doing just the other day for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand why Disney has to make it so overly complicated and create a bad guest experience and just completely ruin the mood. Because here's another thing that happens. Not only does it frustrate the guest, but it also frustrates the cast members. A lot of people don't bring up the cast members, and the cast members are going through it with this stuff. The cast members don't like the boarding groups. The cast members don't like the park reservations, and the cast members don't like the mobile ordering thing either. Nobody likes it. And with the boarding group situation, what I was hearing yesterday was a lot of people getting frustrated. And where do they go? They go right to guest relations, and then they yell and scream at the poor cast member behind the counter because they're frustrated that they weren't able to get a boarding group. So then the cast member has to go through an unfortunate situation because the guest is rightfully so frustrated. Disney, you're creating your own problem. You're doing it to yourself. If you didn't have a crazy boarding pass system for your rides, then you wouldn't be creating this long line at guest relations of people wanting a refund, people wanting free tickets, people wanting boarding groups for the attraction, which they probably end up getting. So it's like you're just creating an issue that doesn't need to be there. And I know that because other theme parks are doing just fine. I've been to dozens of other theme parks. I've been to Florida to experience the parks out there. I've been to Dollywood. I've been to Silver Dollar City. I've been to a few Six Flags parks. I've been to Cedar Fair parks, and they all handle things differently, rightfully so. But all those other parks seem to just get it. Disneyland likes to make things way too complicated for no reason. To sum that up, Disney, if you can close Splash Mountain and not have boarding groups and have people line up all day without having an issue, you can open up a new attraction that is more than capable of handling the capacity and not have boarding groups. Let people line up. They're willing to do it, including myself. I don't mind waiting a few hours for it. You did it back when you opened up Cars Land. Those people waited 8 hours. You've done it before. What's the problem? Well, here's the thing, and people will bring this up too. Well, Dylan, people are back into the thoroughfare spending money, and I get that. I get that Disney wants people spending more money. But again, it just doesn't create a good guest experience because the fact that you didn't get your boarding group and you've already had to jump through all these other hoops just to get into the park and experience this entertainment, you're already irritating the guests. So why irritate them even more? You end up screwing it up for the guest and the cast member long term. Oh, and one more thing, Disney, what's going on with this? You were turning away people with backup boarding groups because apparently you couldn't accommodate more people. But if that's the case, why is it that we nearly walked onto the attraction? There was like a minimal wait before the pre-show, and there was barely anybody in the load for the attraction for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. If it's like this, just fill the queue. Just fill the queue up. That way you can get to more people are satisfied, and you have less of a line at guest relations at the end of the night because people are frustrated and angry. I don't know why they're just creating their own problems. If you're able to accommodate more guests, especially when the ride is a near walk-on, why not just fill the queue? Fill the queue up. Another thing is merchandise. I do not understand why Disney creates a sense of urgency and exclusivity with merchandise that doesn't, like, they have unlimited stock of it. Like today, they have more stock. Tomorrow, they'll have more stock. It's not like they run out. And I'm talking about popcorn buckets and sippers. Why are people lining up at Jolly Holiday, at popcorn stands, and at like food service locations for like more than 45 minutes to an hour? And you'll see the line. It goes all the way down the street to get a popcorn bucket or a sipper when you could sell them at gift shops throughout the park. You don't need to sell them at just certain locations. Again, Universal's been doing this for quite some time, and it's working just well because you still get your benefits of purchasing the sipper and the popcorn bucket at Universal. Now, Disney doesn't really give you too many perks for purchasing a popcorn bucket or sipper, but at Universal, they sell all their popcorn buckets and sippers at nearly all of their gift shops. They give you free refills of popcorn on the day of your visit with your receipt. And with your sipper, they give you the first refill for free. And I think they give you like a discount on your future refills throughout the day if you have your receipt. But they sell them at the gift shop, so it doesn't create this like madness in the thoroughfare in the park. It just frees it up. The product will sell itself. You don't need to create this exclusivity or this sense of urgency to buy something because people see this long line. If the product's good, people will buy it anywhere. And if you sell it in the gift shops, I'm sure you'd probably sell even more of them. Again, Universal's been doing it just fine. So Disney, what are you doing? And what's very odd is why Disneyland is not copying what is happening at Walt Disney World. At Walt Disney World, they're selling the Figment popcorn bucket in this massive show space. I think they're selling the Figment popcorn bucket in a show place, which is located in World Showcase. And it's a big open like tent that they have special events in, but they're utilizing that space to sell Figment popcorn buckets. You walk in there and they have like hundreds of them lined up. So either you get your mobile order, which again, we're going back to the mobile order thing, but you walk in there and you can grab your Figment popcorn bucket without having to wait in a line somewhere else in the park. You just grab it and go and enjoy. Why isn't Disneyland using inconveniences as a space to sell sippers and popcorn buckets? It's a space that's sitting there stagnant, doing nothing. Have everyone go in there to pick up their popcorn buckets and sippers. Because a lot of people go in and just get those. They don't want popcorn, they don't want drinks or whatever. You could still give them that. You can bag up the popcorn or give them a bottle of soda, but people just want the souvenir. So make it easy. Line them all up in inconveniences, in the old inconveniences building. Have hundreds of them in there and have people go in and grab the item and go. It gets people off the main thoroughfare and into a different location quick and efficiently and back onto the thoroughfare so they can go spend money elsewhere and go enjoy the attractions. I don't know if I have video of it. If I do, I'll put it in the video, but the line for Jolly Holiday was just like going down Main Street. It was ridiculous. And it's because a lot of those people are picking up souvenirs. So yeah, let's just eliminate that problem. Have the souvenirs in one place. There's so many empty spaces you can put those souvenirs in and people can buy them. Even over at California Adventure, instead of having that Avengers Campus gift shop in there right next to Monsters Incorporated, why don't you cut it in half and sell a bunch of popcorn buckets and sippers in there? It just makes sense, and I don't know why Disney is not thinking about this. And if they are, well, that person needs to be in charge. Whoever turned that idea down must not be paying attention to their sister parks in Orlando. It bums me out making a video like this because I do enjoy the product. I love Disneyland. They have some of the best rides in the world, and some of the entertainment is amazing and spectacular. But the way you enjoy it now is a chore. It is very frustrating now to go to Disneyland because you have to jump through so many rings of fire to enjoy it. And that's not cool. That's not right. And Disney's got to be careful because what they're doing is they're tarnishing their reputation based on these little things. A lot of people don't like doing these things. And that's why I get so many comments on my channel here. I get so many DMs, and I see it on other people's channels too. People don't like having to think too much about something. They just want to go and have fun. They saved up all year to go. They don't want to have to jump through all these hoops in order to get food, get souvenirs, or go on an attraction. They just want to do it and have fun. They're going to be there spending money regardless. Disney used to be so easy, like every other theme park, and now it's just becoming a chore. And I think that's why we're seeing a monumental shift in the industry. And I think, mark my words, if Disney continues Universal Studios will continue to catch up, and Universal's doing everything that Disney isn't. And there's a reason why every single quarter Comcast reports in their Parks and Resorts division record number profits and attendance. And it's because a lot of people are discovering, hey, this is not as stressful as Disney is. We still love Disney, but we're gonna go there less. And we're gonna spend more time at Universal and other theme parks. Disney's gotta be careful, because I call it like it is. Again, I like the product, but I don't like how the executives are making us enjoy the product. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I'm crazy, or do you think I'm just honest? Because I think I'm honest. I like to say it like it is here on the channel. And, you know, even if I'm on a media list for a park, or I get invited out to do something, like, I'm still going to be honest, because that's the beauty of it. I feel like it's important to tell the truth. I feel like it's important to tell all of you about my experience, because it also gives feedback back to the park. It lets the park know that maybe they should change something, because I know a lot of these parks watch my videos. There are teams dedicated to watching YouTubers and influencers and all these other people on social media. Like, they're very aware of what I'm saying. But I think that's a good thing, because at the end of the day, I'm obsessed with all these theme parks. I love them to death. I wouldn't trade this for anything else in the world. I love going to these places. And the rides that they build are just incredible lately. Like, we are so lucky to be alive in a time right now where we're getting so many great things. Like, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway at Disneyland is fantastic. They didn't tear out any rides to build it. Disneyland has a bunch of rides now. Super Nintendo World is open. And then all these other places around the country are opening up new rides. Like, there's so much to do in the theme park world. It's incredible. Like, what a time to be alive. But with that said, I'm also not afraid to call them out, rightfully so. And right now, it's Disney. Disney needs to be called out. No one likes boarding groups. No one likes park reservations, and no one likes the lightning lane situation. Nobody likes it. It's just annoying. It's frustrating, and it creates a bad guest experience. If you stuck around this far, I just want to say thank you for sticking around. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you agree with my opinions, share it with a friend. See if they also agree, because I feel like not too many people talk about this in the industry, and I feel like it's time that we talk about this. I think it's time that we let people know, especially Disney, that we love your product, but we just don't like how we enjoy your product. You're forcing us to do things that are just not fun, and it's just not how it used to be. And it's forcing us to go to other parks. And I'm gonna go to other parks regardless, because I love all of them. But Disney doesn't want that, because they want people to go to their park. And I'm just saying, Disney's got to change. But yeah, if you're new to the channel and you love these videos and you love a bunch of other theme park videos, because again, I travel all over, I go to a bunch of different theme parks, consider subscribing, because I have brand new videos every single week. And if you want to check out even more content, head over to my Instagram account, because I post there all the time. Do you have a love-hate relationship with Disney? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. But until the next video, I hope you have a beautiful day, morning, evening, whatever it is. And I hope you get that boarding group for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. I'll see you next time in the parks. Bye.